Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we are going to have our discussion on the prospects of fame and recognition which can be decoded through Vedic astrology. Because friends, this is a very commonly asked question which is always doing rounds on the comment section of my videos. So I just thought of wrapping up this concept via a small and short video. So friends, just because definitely if your occupation, your field is of fashion, media, politics or anything to do with commercial activities, and in your occupation it becomes very important that your craft, your work should influence and reach the world, should influence the masses. So what kind of yogas we can find out in Vedic astrology, that is something which we will try to understand in this video. And friends, this is a concept which is going to be equally applicable to a lot many people. Some of them might not be having a very deeper idea about the underlying principles of Vedic astrology. So I'm just going to explain this video in a very simple format. I'm not going to include nakshatras. I'm just going to tell you about the houses and the planetary influence which could promise good success, or more importantly, more than the success, prospects of fame and recognition. So friends, to begin with, now if you have to give attention to the houses, so definitely first of all you have to look at the condition and empowerment of your first house, because first house is something which tells about your overall life, and this is something which can be decoded in a way that what kind of impression people get when they look at you. So first house is very important. The next is the 10th house, because 10th house tells about your activities, your actions in the society. All the prospects of status, of recognition can also be seen from the placement and condition of your 10th house. Now friends, the another important house is the 11th house. 11th house is important because this is the house of popularity, this is the house of your connection, this is the house of gains, and this is the house of your influence in the society. So if you will find a empowered 11th house, so this can be seen as a very good sign of becoming famous. Now friends, many times people overlook the importance and contribution of the 8th house. Now 8th house is also very important because not only it is going to give you fame in this lifetime, but even after when you are gone, your name and your work will remain, will be remembered. So that is the kind of fame which is generally considered with the 8th house, or which is attached with the 8th house. Now friends, when we talk about the planetary influence, so that is very simple. To begin with, you have to look at the placement and condition of the sun in your chart. Now, if you will find sun to be placed in your first house, you will find sun to be placed in the 10th house or in the 11th house. That can be seen as a very good sign of prospects of becoming famous, becoming recognized. Sun and its natal placement in your chart in itself tells about that which area of your life is going to rise and shine. So sun is the most important planet which needs to be seen for checking the prospects of fame in someone's life. The second most important planet is the planet Rahu, because whenever we talk about creating an illusion around your name, around your work, so for that we need to check the dignity and strength of Rahu in the chart. And friends, definitely because Rahu doesn't have a ownership of any sign, so because of which if you're going to find Rahu to be either placed in the first house, or let's say for example 10th house, 11th house, even the 3rd house, so these are some of the houses. First house, 3rd house, 10th house, 11th house can be seen as a very good house placement for Rahu to give you name, fame, recognition. And when we talk about from the zodiac sign placement for Rahu, so generally the signs ruled by the planet Mercury, which is the Virgo sign, which is the Gemini sign, signs ruled by the planet Venus, which is Taurus, which is Libra, and lastly friends, the signs ruled by the planet Saturn, Capricorn or Aquarius. So these are the signs and the houses which I just mentioned. First house, 3rd house, 10th house, 11th house can be seen as a very good house placement for Rahu to give you name, fame and recognition. Now friends, when we talk about the contribution of the outer planets, for example out of Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, it has been generally seen that Pluto in this regard can actually play a very pivotal role in giving you recognition. So let's say for example, in many celebrities chart, Pluto has been found in the first house, in the 10th house, which has given them a lasting fame. And many times what happens is that if you will find these kind of planets to be in a empowered state, like for example, if you will find Saturn. Now friends, Saturn has more to do with the greatness. Like, try to understand this thing. Your talent can make you famous. That is the prospect of the planet Sun, which is generally associated with the talent and originality or creative aspect. But when we talk about being extraordinary, when we talk about attaining greatness, being a very downtrodden, or after facing all the hardship, you became an inspiration for the world, like all those people who look at you with respect, with inspiration. So that is something which is generally associated with the planet Saturn. So let's say for example, if we will find Saturn, and in this regard friends, I would say Saturn's placement specifically, if you will find Saturn to be dignified, exalted, well placed, either in the 7th house, which in itself is the house of the masses, or you will find Saturn to be dignified in the 10th house or the 11th house. So that can be seen as one of the very good placement for attaining not only fame but also attaining respect and commanding respect from the world. And like the way friends, I have also mentioned this thing that when we talk about some sort of lasting fame or completely transforming your life, so for that we also have to give attention to the 8th house as well. Like you take up the case of Osho, you take up the case of Indian celebrity like Amitabh Bachchan, you will find lot many people with their ascendant lord to be dignified or in many cases well placed in the 8th house. So because of which friends, these are the certain houses which you have to give attention to. Now I do not want to complicate this video more, but I would say that out of all the divisional chart, I would say that you have to look at the condition of the D10 chart or the Dasamsa chart, because Dasamsa chart definitely tells about the prospects of your karma, the way your actions, your deeds are going to be influencing the world, the way it is going to be resonating in the world. So if you will find good yogas which are getting promised in your main ascendant chart and same yogas being promised in the D10 chart, that can be seen as a very good sign for attaining success. Now that is something which D10 chart is going to tell about, that how your karma is going to be resonating in the world, the inner drive and motivation for achieving greatness or doing something extraordinary. But when we talk about specifically the prospects of fame, so for that, along with the ascendant chart, the D10 chart, I would also say that if you can also look at the D5 chart and the D11 chart. So there are certain apps, like if you will go to the Jagannath Hora software, you will go to this app Cosmic Insight. So there you can easily find out these charts as well, where not only you will be able to see the planetary alignment in those charts, but also even in a very minute way which nakshatra planets are setting in those divisional chart. So friends, like the way the houses which I have just mentioned. So for example, first house, 10th house, 11th house plays very important role, specifically from the point of view of Sun, of Rahu, of Pluto. And when we talk about attaining greatness, becoming a legend in your chosen craft, in your field, for that Saturn's placement in the 7th house, in the 10th house, in the 11th house can be seen as a very good sign of a success and promise in any sort of public related field or getting success and recognition in the public domain. And lastly friends, all these divisional charts which I have just mentioned, because friends, what happens is that once you opened up any divisional chart, what happens is that you get the deeper penetrating insight that what exactly is happening in that area of the life. Now I will give you a very simple example. Now what is going to be happening is that if you are an actor, for you getting famous or being recognized is a very important matter of the life. And let's say for example, many times what happens is that people are also very much concerned about how they will be seen in the world. So for that we have a concept of Arudha Lagan. Through Arudha Lagan, you can fairly see the prospects of your recognition or your reflection in the society. But along with that, once you open the divisional chart, you get to know about the nitty-gritty of that specific house. So let's say, for example, if in someone's chart you will find Jupiter to be exalted in the 7th house, which is a very good sign for a Capricorn ascendant, to be well dignified, placed in the 10th house, in the 11th house. But along with that, let's say, for example, once you open the D11 chart of the same person, the sign which is going to be rising right over there in the 1st house is going to tell you about that what is going to be your prospects of recognition and fame. So if you will find, for example, Sagittarius to be rising in the D11 chart, that is going to give you this idea that you are definitely going to be commanding respect out of your deeds, your actions, and your fame is going to be coming for some right reasons. But let's say, for example, if you will find a Scorpio and along with that Rahu to be placed over there in the D11 chart in the 1st house, so that might give you this hint that out of controversy and scandals your name is going to rise, if the same thing is getting promised from your ascendant chart as well. Let's say, for example, if in your D11 chart you will find Leo to be rising over there, Sun to be dignified over there, so that is going to be a added sign that your creativity is definitely going to take you to the sky, to the heights. And lastly, friends, like the way I have mentioned this thing, that whichsoever planet is your 11th house lord in the main ascendant chart, you have to give attention to that planet's placement in the D11 chart. That is going to give you this idea, the prospects of your name, fame, recognition. Or whether you are going to open the ascendant chart, D10 chart or the D11 chart, you have to give attention to the 1st house, 10th house, 11th house, and specifically to Saturn, you have to look at its dignity in the 7th house or 10th house and the 11th house. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say in short on this concept of fortune, fame and recognition. Whatsoever your findings and your opinion are on this topic, I will look forward to your participation in the comment section of this video. So for furthermore updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.